In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add a photo and text to your Google Slides. So the first thing you're going to do is go up to the plus button and choose a format. And it really doesn't matter because we're going to manipulate it quite a bit. Then we're going to upload a photo, and I happen to have one on my computer tab, so I'm doing that. I'm uploading from my computer. See how that red line pops up? That means that it's the center vertically and horizontally. Now, I don't love the way that this looks with the image down below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that. I'm going to go on up here to insert and then all the way down to change the layout, and I can choose a different layout. I'm going to just choose a plain background. And as you can see, the text is way too big for it. So I'll take the text box, make it smaller, highlight the letters itself, and go ahead and make it the right size. So now this is more manageable, and I can go ahead and change the text within that text box. I want to make multiples of these little text box, and I want them to be identical. So I copied, and now I'm going to paste that same thing. Once I'm done with that, I can go in and actually click on the letters and change it to whatever I want. As you can see, I've added a bunch of different text box, and I'm going to add some lines from the actual ingredients to the text box. So I'm going up to line, and I'm going to click on my text box. And did you see how automatically those 4 purple dots ended up kind of appearing around my box? That allows me to be able to connect to that box at those center points. And if I wanted to connect it to another box, I could connect it to its center point. Okay, let's go a little slower on how I made that line. I'm going up to where you see line, and you can just do a straight line, that top one, or I'm going to show you how to use the polyline. So I'm clicking where I want to start, and if I hit shift, it makes my line perfectly straight and parallel. I'm going to release and then bring it down and release again, double clicking at the end. That tells the line itself, hey, I'm done drawing you. Then you can see that I'm making a couple of other alterations, changing the color, changing the thickness of the line. And then I can go ahead and give a title. So I'm going to add a new text box, place it where I want it. I can always move it around later, and then make some adjustments to where I want the letters to be in the center. I can even adjust the style of text and then the size as well. Now, we can do this within slides quite easily, but I'm going to show you one more way that you might want to add a drawing. So I'm going to make a drawing in Google Drawing or Google Draw. And what I'll be able to do is import that into my slides later. The advantage of doing this is just going to allow me to change this. It becomes an image. I can use it for other things, like it can become an icon, or I can put it into slides or a document. So I can use it in multiple ways, and I can always edit it later as well. I think you're going to see a lot of similarities. So even in this one, I went up to insert, found that same picture on my desktop, and it just plopped it right down. You see these red lines helping me out to make it nice and centered, and that's helpful too. I'm using a Chrome extension called Eyedropper, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But I'm gathering the picture of the color number of my slide so that I can get the background here to match exactly as well. So I right click on the background, which brings this up, and I can hit plus, custom, and I can grab the color that I did get, just paste that in when I used Eyedropper. And what that does is give me the exact color that I can use to match my slides. So that's kind of a nice little trick, and I'll give you more details on that in a minute. Okay, we'll go again and add the text box just as we did before. So adding a text box, changing the text style or the size or the placement. So if I want it centered or to the right or to the left, all of these adjustments are going to be similar across the board on Google platforms in general. You're going to see a lot of similarities when you're using the Google Suite. Okay, so we have the words in, and again, this is going to be super similar. Using lines and making adjustments to them. So changing the color, changing the size, changing the thickness, I guess I should say, and adding that using lines, which is up at the top. And I'm using that poly line, so it has that bend. There we go, we have them all done, and I'm going to show you one advantage that I really enjoy in Google Draw, and that is using word art. So that was insert word art. So here are some of the advantages. This actually changes it more into a photo or an image rather than a text box. So I can make certain adjustments. It kind of has that nice border around it. I'm going to be able to change the color of the border, change the size by moving it like you would an image rather than a text box. So some real nice advantages when you're using word art. Now let's talk about that color picker a little bit more. So if I go up to color picker, I can actually use a part of the image itself to get a color that I'm happy with that would match and be cohesive within my drawing here. So I go up to color picker again and copy the color number. So I went to copy, and then I'm going to go to fill, and that's going to fill in the letters, custom, and then right up here I can change that color. So sometimes I have to add a space and then delete that space, and then it reads that number somehow. I don't know why I have to do that, but that's a good little fix. It gives me the color I'm looking for, and look at it, matches really nicely. I can also change the outline, the color of it, the thickness of it. I can make it bold. I can really do a lot of adjustments when I'm using word art. Now I'm going to go in and share this. So I'm going to go to publish the web, file, publish the web, and then I can say okay here, publish, okay, and it's going to give me a URL that I can copy. That's going to allow me to go back over to my Google slide, and I just have a blank slide here, and I'll go insert, and there is an option down below that says by URL. I can go ahead and paste that URL right in there and insert it. And there we go. We have our image. That's all one image, and I can move it around like I can any other photo. I can even crop it as well. So I notice that there's a lot of space down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go up to, there is a crop. So when you click on your image, there is like right there, 2 boxes, and it gives that black line around, and you can move from the center points up to where you want it, click off from that image, and it makes it smaller. It changes it, the size of it. So there we go. That is 2 ways to add an image in Google Slides.